Good afternoon, councillors, members of the public, officers, welcome along. I declare this meeting open. Some of us don't have our iPads operating tonight, so it'll be a little bit slower than usual with me, so I'm running off the screen. Under announcement, first of all, Ben Andrew, our Citizen of the Year for 2018. Welcome to you, Ben. Lovely to have you here. Under announcements, councillors, the party seeking to purchase and develop Lot 66 Ocean Drive has advised it will not be proceeding with that. There are a number of events held in Bunbury over the weekend. I congratulate and thank the organisers of the Fringe Festival, Chinese New Year Festival, the Dragon Boat Racing, Kambana Bay Sailing Club for hosting major events in their sporting calendars. And Councillor Smith, thank you and your team, International Relations Committee and the officers for the Suzhou folk painting launch with the Consul General of China. That was a really great night, so thanks very much to you. Councillor Steck is an apology. Declarations of interest. Councillor Morris declares a proximity interest with respect to item 14.1 as he has he leases a building right next door to the boardwalk under repair, and the CEO declares a financial interest with respect to item 15.11, which is the CEO 2018 performance review. Are there any further declarations of interest, councillors? Thank you. We had received advice that Mr. Trantham was going to come along tonight and ask a question. He hasn't arrived yet. We'll deal with his question through correspondence. Nobody else is going to ask on his behalf? No? Okay. Confirmation of the previous council meeting. Can someone move that, please? Councillor Cook, seconder. Councillor McCleary, all in favour? It's carried unanimously, thank you. Any petitions, councillors? We don't have any deputations, delegations or presentations. Method of dealing with the agenda business, I'll just bring to your attention again, item 14, we have a new business of urgent nature to consider, and there are 3 other items on the agenda so far. I don't have any of those being withdrawn or up for discussion, I should say. Does anybody want to discuss any of those 10.2.1, 2.2 and 10.2.3? That being the case, can I have someone move the adoption? Thank you, Councillor Cook, Councillor Hayward, all in favour? It's carried unanimously, thank you. Request for leave of absence. Can I have someone move that rather generously? Councillor Hayward, Councillor Cook, all in favour? It's carried unanimously, thank you. Now, Councillor Warnock, I believe you have a question of me. Thank you for giving me your notice.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for letting me ask this question. Firstly, great news that we've got a meeting with the Minister for Transport and the member for Collie Preston about the Outer Ring Road, and just wondering if you could please advise councillors on what position yourself and the CEO will be taking to the meeting with the Minister and the member next Monday regarding the Bunbury Outer Ring Road, please.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Councillor Warnock. Councillors have all received a copy of the letter I sent to the Minister on the date of the 7th of December last year. And fundamentally that arose from the briefing that we received from Main Roads prior to that date, where we learnt for the first time of the latest plan showing the intersection of Forest Highway with the Bunbury Outer Ring Road. And I think there was general harmony amongst the elected members at that briefing, and since then that particular design was not in the best interest of our city. So the position that I'll be taking with the CEO to the Minister on Monday is that we do want the Forest Highway into the city of Bunbury to be the dominant road into our city. We don't want it to be an offshoot of the Bunbury Outer Ring Road. We want the Bunbury Outer Ring Road to be an offshoot of the Forest Highway entrance into our city. And we haven't seen the connection between Bustle Highway and the Bunbury Outer Ring Road on our southern border boundary, so I'm also asking for that to be clarified as well. So that's the position that we're taking. Shire of Harvey will be represented by their President and CEO, and as you say, Councillor Warnock, Minister Murray, Minister Saffioti, Member for Bunbury, Mr Don Punch, MLA, they will be present as well. Do you have a question, Councillor Kelly?
Supplementary question, Mr Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
You mentioned Harvey going to that meeting. Have yourself or the CEO had any conversations with any of the other Greater Bunbury Region councils, that is Capel and Dardanup? And if so, what's the gist of those discussions, and are we aware of whether or not the Minister has invited them at some other point? And the point being, is there a collective view?
Yeah, look, I'm not aware of any other meetings with the Minister and those other councils you've mentioned. There has been some informal discussions that I've had with the Shire President of Dardanup, and I think today the CEO received a letter from the Shire of Harvey CEO, but any comments from Capel, Shire of Capel?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I've been keeping in contact with the CEO of the Shire of Capel, just letting him know what is actually happening, and they've been waiting for the formal announcement on the alignment on the southern end, and that's their key point of conjecture at this stage.
Okay, so I'll be able to, the CEO and I'll be able to report back to you next Tuesday night's briefing how that goes. And I'm also aware that Councillor Hayward has got a draft notice of motion ready to go. That our CEO probably released that to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on, councillors. Next item. Can I have someone move that we consider this matter as a... Thank you, Councillor Morris. So Councillor Cook moves that recommendation. Is there a second? Councillor Cleary. I should look to my right more often. All in favour? That's carried unanimously. No, we've got to deal with the matter now. Thank you. You're keen to get home tonight? Yeah, you're keen to get home tonight. Okay, so for the information of the public who are here and also live screening, the City Council has received a briefing from the Director of Works and the CEO just prior to this meeting commencing. But I'm open to any other questions of clarification before we actually move on to this matter. Is there anybody, Councillor Steele, are you okay with this? Have you read this and you're okay? Can I also move the executive recommendation? Councillor Kelly?
Mr Mayor, if that you ask a question?
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Somebody move it. Yeah, I just want to be assured of the definition of emergency works. I see this as urgent, I might add, but I just want to get some sort of assurance about the criteria where we state that something is an emergency. Yep. Generally, the Local Government Act refers to emergencies as natural disaster, life-threatening natural disasters, and I just want to make sure that the criteria for declaring this and using the Act was appropriate.
Yes, look, that was my decision, Councillor Kelly, and as explained to the councillors only half an hour ago or less, my main concern after hearing from the CEO and the Director of Works was the very likely event that the whole wall would collapse and then compromise the integrity of the buildings adjacent to it. I consider that an emergency. The fact is that we had to get a crew from Brisbane to mobilise to be here as quickly as possible, and we had to get them mobilised as from Friday of last week when I made the decision to treat it as an emergency. So that's my rationale. I'm very comfortable with that decision. I think we're all aware of the gravity of the situation. So I'm prepared to move the executive recommendation. Councillor Hayward, Councillor Cook. Councillor Hayward, did you wish to speak?
Other than say, Mr Mayor, I think it's just common sense. I totally agree in the situation. The cost of recovery to the city, if that wall was to have collapsed or those buildings did become compromised, is significantly more money than this. Just the clean-up alone, I think it's something that's had to be done very, very urgently, and I think we can all accept that. I think that the proper thing for us to do is support the decision and vote. Thank you.
Councillor Cook.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Senator Speaker against this. I'll put it all in favour. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Steele, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, you go. Councillor Morris. Councillor Cobb, someone moved that we resume behind closed doors. Councillor Cook, is there a seconder? Councillor Smith? All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.